up, everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton music moments and everything in between. I'm Sick Braxton.
And I am Mike D. Jackson, aka the Streak Ender.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Uh,
You haven't done like a monologue early in the pod in a while, so I'm interested.
it has been a while. Some of the stuff I'm like, I'll give it a break. And then I was like, I'll do it on this one. I'll do it. I was like, nah, not this episode. So I'm like, man, I got to come up with something. I was stuck between two of them. Um, they both kind of coincide because it's either going to be the Streak Ender or I just got some cutty last night, which wouldn't have been true. It would have been 2 nights ago. So I was going to go with that one, but yeah. Long story short, I had sexual intercourse, y'all. It was great. It's been a while. So number one, I ended my own streak,
Uh-huh.
and then I had to end someone else's streak. You know what I mean? So it's double streakage everywhere, streak over here, streak over there. It's done now. It's over. It's over. It might be over for y'all too. And I want to inspire you guys that maybe if you still are virgins, please have sex responsibly. But if you haven't had it in a while, don't worry, your streak is going to be ended soon. Not by me, not by me, by someone else that you might love and care for. So yeah, there's my monologue. So there you go.
You can't be the streak ender and then offer not to end other people's streaks. That's your whole thing. You have SE on your chest now.
Yeah, like it's got to add an X on there, you know what I mean? So no, but it's one of those things like you know how like Randy Orton, right? Like he was like the legend killer, and then he's pretty much a legend in his own right. It's like, well, someone's gonna have to kill his legend, you know what I mean? So knowing him, he might be like, nope, I'm gonna do it myself. He's like, hey, I'm not gonna let you end my legend. No, I'm gonna do it. So
Well, I'm happy for you, man. I'm glad that you have ended your streak. And I don't know, do you build a new streak, or do you try to you start a streak of like consecutive weeks of having to? I don't know. I don't know what your plan is.
well, of course, no. You don't even have to worry about that. Whatever. You got kids already, so you already but you out here, you might do a new streak with another kid. That might be your streak, have
I
another
I
one
don't.
on the way.
Mm-mm. No, 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 no,
No.
no, 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 no. I'm done. I'm done, big dog.
Well, maybe that's going to be next on my list to actually start my own family, you know what I mean? So, but it's one of those things where by the way, when I'm talking about streak, for me, I'm not talking about virginity. I'm not talking about that, y'all. That's not what I was talking about. Like, oh man, like Kelly Clarkson. That's not, that's not what I meant. You know what I mean? Just it's been a while. I was just like, yeah, that's it's been too long. We gotta do something different. Nah, but that would probably be the next thing, next step in line, whatever. But of course, I'm not going to just be all willy-nilly like some other people. Like, damn, have some kids. I'm like, damn, mind your fucking business. Let me actually find someone I think I'm compatible with first. You dig? Sheesh.
Well, I'm happy for you. That is nothing worse. Nothing. Wow, what kind of drink is that?
This is just water. It's
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 it
it's just
sounded like it was
water.
carbonation.
Ain't no damn carbonation in this water. I hope not.
But yeah, man. Just I'm happy for you. Good to end that streak. We have our own streak continuing with another week of Charles Hamilton music and review. This week we are reviewing Climatic.
Yes, sir. Climactic. Also, the streak continues. So we're not going to be like the Undertaker, 21-1 or whatever happened with him. So sorry. Climactic, which came out sometime in 2019, October. And it was uploaded on YouTube October 4th. So we're going to say October of 2019 when this project came out. Um, we're somewhere in the newer realm of Charles Hamilton music. Um, Also, this is where we get to the point of not having too much to say about it because, at this point in time, Charles, he's dropping music. And if he is talking about it, it might be on a blog that might have been deleted, or maybe Charles didn't talk about it as much. So there's not as much notes that I have in this segment, which is unfortunate. And usually I would come up with hey, what did the Star Chaser say? But I'm not sure actually how many Star Chasers or just Charles Hamilton fans in general have heard this project. So, um, very, very hidden gem. Possible. hidden gem. I guess we'll find out once we review it. So, but that's all I got.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I have on this, and it was, I mean, you clearly know once you start listening, is I remember I was talking to Charles about something, and he had asked me if I had heard a song from this tape, and I was like, "Oh, what's the tape?" And he was like, "Oh, this is my version of Illmatic, basically." Um, and so, yeah, when you suggested this one, I was like, oh, okay, I think I know what this is, but I don't think I've ever heard it because I never got around to it. So I'll ask you our normal question before this review: did you know or did you listen to this tape?
Actually, no. You know how off screen we'll say, "Hey, we're done with this episode. What's the next project we're going to review?" Every now and again, like when I'm trying to go through episodes or go through certain songs, projects we've done, I, I'm the one that tries to like spice it up by picking something different,
Mhm.
picking something that, um, would be an interesting conversation for Star Chasers. And with this one, I'm like, I want to pick something newer, and this probably won't be something I don't know. And I just typed in Charles Hamilton 2019, and this popped up first. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, and that's one of those things where we have to deal with where it's like, all right, well, either this is going to be a pleasant surprise or it's going to be one where it's like, man, we might have to grow to love this one. So never heard it until we went to go review this. So first time, like you said, is Charles's version of Illmatic. So before you start listening, I'm just like, I don't even know what to expect. You see the cover art or the picture, whatever you want to call it, and I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. But like you said, this is your first time listening as well. So, but it's one of those things where we kind of had to take it back to like the blockbuster video scene type of days where it's like, I'm looking at this cover art or this picture. It's Charles with Pac-Man. Oh, shout out to you. I just noticed that. So
It's a nice little touch, right?
yeah. I had to give Homegirl a nice look. Never mind. Never mind. Let me
Yo.
chill. Let me chill. I'm about to be blacking
You,
today.
you gave her the Micah's touch.
Wow, the mic. Nice, nice.
This tape has 6 songs, man. So it's one of those short tapes. I feel like he was doing that a lot over the last 5 years, I guess. These shorter tapes, not really long, but kind of like condensed. Um, it's interesting that we're also getting back into a topic we've been talking about, or a theme we've been doing for the last couple weeks or a few weeks. Is him rapping over other people's beats. Not necessarily in the mixtape version where they're like different people's beats, different types of situation. This is like an album and those beats, and that's what he's rapping over. So this will be interesting to see if this is a different type of vibe. Will this be like some of the other mixtapes that we did where, some were good and then some was like, this beat isn't for you, or is this more of like a what like Freddie Gibbs does and kind of locks in with one producer and that kind of is able to streamline a better listening experience. So I was excited when we got this.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, 6 songs. So it's one of those things where, for the most part, you would assume it's going to be an easy listen. We have had some projects where you see like a short amount of songs, and all of a sudden, like the first song is like 12 minutes, and then you're like, what's going on here? But everything's about like 3 or 4 minutes. So it's like, all right, well, and I think we just found out recently with certain Star Chasers in the Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, check it out. Certain Star Chasers, they might not be the biggest fans of like that type of music where it's like, oh, it's Shaw's rapping on someone else's production. And the production might not even be like a bad thing. It's just that we have some Star Chasers where by the time they got like into Charles's music, that's all they heard. Just Charles production and then like a certain sound of
Mhm.
production, like something from like let's say like 2012 to even current, and like that's all they heard. So when they hear Charles on like I guess you could say like mainstream like 90s or 2000 music, it's just like it could be jarring for them. So it's just like, but I hope this might change other people's minds because it's like, hey, like you got to keep listening and you might find something that you do like that you might see that Charles is going to be on where it's not just, hey, I can only do one style. I can do multiple styles, multiple flows, multiple production values. So
Mhm. And with that being said, 6 songs means we can go through the entire tape. So we're gonna start off with Grant's Tomb Raider. Seeing as you are our music historian, I assume you know most of these beats, obviously, or can at least tell us what they are attached to. So what do you think about this one?
yeah, there's all of them except for one, but I'll double check to make sure I find out which one that is. For Grant's Tomb Raider, these guys got some interesting titles for these as well. This is Charles rapping on World Is Yours. Like we said, it's Nas, so um it's interesting. It's a very chill freestyle. Like if you ever heard the beat before, it's just not like up it's not upbeat type of song, whatever. It's like chill, like you're riding in the car or you just, bobbing your head. It's one of those type of beats. One thing that Charles said on here, he said he's the gothic meek. He's got to speak. And I was just like, hmm. I went back and forth with agreeing and disagreeing on it because I was trying to think of about it from the 2019 perspective, like Charles being a gothic meek. And Charles has said that before. He's a gothic so and so, gothic whoever. And part of me agreed and disagreed, but I think even in 2025, I can agree now where it's like, okay, Charles being a gothic meek, because I think about, Meek Mill being loud, abrasive, flashy, and that's not really what Charles does at all. But at the same time, if we've noticed how Meek's trajectory has gone down, it's
Mhm.
just like because Meek used to be considered like cool and popping and fly and all that, but the more he talks on social media, it's just like he seems like lame, corny, a loser. How some people would like describe Charles, and it's just like technically now I can see it. It's one of those things where both of them can rap well, but it's like when you look at their appearance, they become like unpopular, Um, but Charles just spitting his truth on here. He has an interesting claim with the gothic meat thing, but like he's just spitting his truth. He's just saying how he feels, even if he does feel gothic, he wants to let people know like he can still do his thing on the microphone. He's still trying to pay, his respects to Nas and anyone that came up before him. You know what I mean? So, um, like I said, I went back and forth with that take, but overall, it's a good intro song. It's good. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, first of all, it's a classic beat. Good beat, timeless beat, honestly. I feel like any rapper, not any rapper, some rappers don't need to be on certain beats, but I feel like it's a beat that most rappers can get onto and, kind of get their shit off. Um, I will say your point about, Gothic meat. I think it's that second part that really is the is the talking point because no matter what the topic is, I feel like Meek feels like he has to say something, and that's kind of been like his ah, it's both his Achilles heel and like an attribute for him because like people often joke that Meek's one of the greatest tweeters of all time because he just says anything and it always attracts an attention. Unlike some other people that from Chicago and just be saying stuff and just be ranting for no reason and we should all just ignore him for the rest of our lives. Uh, but with Meek, it's like he always has to say some insert himself into topics no matter what it is. And I feel like that's what Charles Bates is saying, but he's just a gothic version of that. Um, but he's rapping really well on here. Like I said, we're in 2019, so the rapping style that Charles is doing during this time and really, currently. I will say throughout this tape, it feels kind of natural this time. It feels very it doesn't feel like broken language, doesn't feel like it's like broken pieces. It feels like if Charles's music is like Legos, right? Multiple pieces put together, or multiple pieces or before they put together. This feels more put together than a lot of music that you may come across in his later years. So I listened to this. I was like, okay, this is good. I like what I'm hearing. I was hopeful that the rest was going to be very similar to this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think by this point, 2019, like Charles had gotten a better grasp on, hey, if I'm going to be freestyling on someone else's song, whether I have a hook or no hook, Um, I just got to come correct because we've heard the criticisms of, hey, you're rapping, but you're not really talking about nothing. And sometimes when he freestyles, it's like, okay, he knows he's not talking about nothing, but the bars are potent. So I think he's got a better grasp by this point of, if I'm going to, not talk about a topic in particular, I got to make sure the bars are intact. They got to, they got to fall in line, and they got to just make sure that, there's either punchlines or just something memorable there, instead of
Mhm.
it just being like at, bat, cat, sat, dat, hat. Like it has to just, it just has to make sense. And of course, the biggest thing, and being a hip hop artist, a rapper, whatever you want to call yourself, you have to have some type of quotables, something where it's going to stick with you or me. And it's like, yeah, remember when he said this in the song? Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love that bar. I love this, little part that he had where, so I think Charles got a better grasp on what to do when it comes to songs like this,
Mhm.
especially not however you feel about Nas. Um, you can't go on a Nas beat or whoever makes this beat like Premier or whoever, and then shit the bed. You literally cannot. Otherwise, it's like turn the song off, turn the tape off, whatever. You just can't do that. You got to make sure you're coming with something. You got to come with some heat.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Now I know how it reads.
Don't
Uh,
don't
so
don't even ask me. Don't even
I'm no,
ask
I'm
me.
not. No, I'm not gonna ask you. I'm gonna say it how the word is actually is pronounced. I'm not gonna ask you. The next song is called Airball.
So I was looking at it, right, and I know the word air, like heir to the throne,
Hmm.
but there's an e in there, and then if it could be the apostrophe, like here, like you're here, like here, like. Are you sure that's how it said? Are you? Oh,
No, that's it. No, that's Hiel no. That's what it is. That is that is Airball. I read it and I was like, I wonder if he means hairball, but he's just doing the spelling thing. But I'm going with airball because that's what it reads.
yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Or do I? Are you sure of that? No, I'm kidding. No, I agree with you. Airball. So, I got you, man. I got you. I just want to make sure that.
No,
So,
I got it.
all right. So look, this song, this is Charles rapping on Nas's New York State of Mind. That's a classic Nas beat. So, I mean, World is Yours is too, but I feel like this might be a little bit higher in there, especially for like the hip hop heads.
Hmm.
Um, there's no real hook on this song. I just said Charles had a focused flow, and he just goes pretty hard on the song. Charles putting some respect on the beat. He has some clever rhyme schemes. It's pretty good. When you going from Grant's Tomb Raider to Airball, I feel like it's a step up in quality. And Charles just wanted to make sure that he was just saying, some hot shit overall. So, and it's one of those crazy things where, let's say if he didn't do well, and then it's an airball, it's like, because that's the type of shit that will get you booed out in New York. Like you're gonna airball on a Nas beat like this, like that's literally like the hey, we're done here. Nah, we don't need to listen to the rest of this. So no, I think he did pretty well on this song.
Yeah, I think I wrote down that, and it's crazy. This one has the least amount of views on here, I guess listens or whatever. I think this is of the rest of the tape. I think this is the best rapping he does on there. I think he dominates this beat. I think he's, like I said, it's very effortless. It's very, again, we use focus a lot, but it's very just controlled in this situation. It doesn't seem, again, it doesn't seem like it's like I'm searching for something. I'm breaking apart. It's just like I'm rapping, kind of like he was doing with some of the freestyles he did when he came back, like the Sway freestyle, even when he was with Rosenberg. Uh,
Rosenberg, Triple
yeah.
Sloth.
Mhm.
There's a couple other people he did some freestyles with.
Where it just felt like he was in very tight control of what he was doing. Um, yeah, not really a hook. It's kind of, he does repeat a sentence a couple times, and I guess I would say that's the hook, I guess. But just kind of break up from what he did in the first verse versus the second. But yeah, I really like this one. I actually played this one a couple times back to back just to get make sure I was confirming what I thought. And I really like this one a lot. I will ask you while we're here, illmatic. is considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest album of all time. I know a lot of old heads will tell you that Illmatic is the greatest album to ever be created. Nothing will ever beat that. Yada yada blah 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 blah. Dead ass. You know what they say. Um, how do you feel about Illmatic? And does it deserve that praise?
So for me, I didn't listen to Illmatic obviously when it first came out. I didn't even listen to it like as a teenager. Now I have an older brother that's 10 years older than me, where that's more of, his time of him growing up and Illmatic was out. And excuse me, like his friends, would be playing that a lot more. So I've always heard songs from it. And, just, growing up, I would watch every now and again if a music video from back then came on, I'd watch it. And I'm like, oh, I like this song, or I like that song by Nas. If it's the crazy thing where the fact that he came out with that album, and if I remember, it's like 10 songs, literally 10 songs.
Mhm.
That's it. And we're talking about early 90s, where like we talked about before, even with Charles' music, like, oh, blase blah amount of songs isn't a mixtape. So
Mhm.
when you're a rapper and you're like, hey, I'm doing 10 songs for this album, that's it. There's no special edition with the extra 3 songs or
Mhm.
extra 5 songs, remixes on no, 10 songs, that's it. So the margin was, you know, he could have missed on one song and be like, oh, nope. But it's critically acclaimed. Like you said, people call it like the best hip hop album of all time. Some people say the best album of all time.
Mhm.
I think it does deserve the praise because for him to confidently say, "Yeah, we're just doing 10 songs. That's it. No more, no less." And I'm going to hit on all of these songs. I think at the time of Illmatic coming out, Nas did very well, and obviously influenced so many other people. Like even regardless if people want to say it or not, even like Jay-Z, someone like Jay-Z has been
Mhm.
influenced. So it made people step their bars up and be like, okay, I need to less is more. We heard that saying before, less is more. Now for me personally, me hearing it once I finally heard it, I'm like, it's a good album. It's a really good album in his catalog. Um, I probably wouldn't have said it's his best, one of
Okay.
his best. Um, I'm not sure what I would consider his best, but for me, I was never like a big Nas fan. And this is crazy because for me, I was never like a super big Nas fan or a Jay-Z fan because that's what people always go to. Oh, well, you're a Jay-Z fan. Oh no, you're a Nas fan. Oh, well,
Mhm.
you're a Biggie fan. That's what it is. Oh, well, Tupac. It's like those four, especially like on the East Coast
Yeah.
when people talk about the top fives. It's those four and then add your fifth. Then you have to have those four. You have to have Biggie and
Mhm.
Tupac because they're dead. You have to have Jay-Z and Nas because they were like the young guys growing up. But me, I was always an Eminem fan, so I got looked at crazy. Like, you like Eminem? Yes. You like him more than yes, but that's personal opinion. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, I think that Nas did a very great job with Illmatic, and it always deserved the praise it gets. I think. I wonder. Here's a question I have for you. I'm not sure how you feel about Illmatic, but maybe with this song not having as many views, but Charles going in on it, because we've heard people say, "Oh, Nas, he always picks the worst beats and this, and that, blah, blah, blah." Obviously, we like this beat, but we're at the age now where, oh, you guys, you don't understand hip hop how it is now. Like,
Mhm.
I wonder if people will dislike some of these songs because of the beats Nas picked back in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Um, because I don't remember when that Nas criticism eventually started coming up. I don't think it was here because I think, Premiere, we're not that's obvious. Um, but I will say that I do think it lacks the boom of beats today. So I do think it's one of those things where the younger generation probably wouldn't gravitate toward this, or they'd be like, "What is this?" They'd be like, this is what y'all used to rap over, yada yada." You know how they are, man. Um,
Well, the thing we talked about before, like some newer kid could hear this and be like, "Oh, this is that boom bap unk rap." Like, "Oh,
yeah,
fuck no,"
yeah,
instantly.
yeah. No,
So,
no more unk rap or whatever is what they would refer it to. But I think this again, there are beats today that sound good today that I don't know are going to sound good later. But beats like these are timeless, I guess. They make you feel something. I think they make you go back to a certain era of time versus this is like there are so many beats. Like if I pick a beat today, like just a random beat and I pick it out, I bet you could find one that's right that's so close to it that if you put them next to each other, no one will be able to tell you the difference or like what song it is because they're that similar. These had very distinct sounds. So yeah, I mean, I thought Illmatic was. I'd probably argue Illmatic is probably his best album. I think because I mean, you got to think too. He was 20-year old when it dropped, which means he probably started writing it when he was like 17 or 18 or something, which is nuts when you think about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, he's definitely said like he was like about like 18, like when he was like writing that type of stuff down. So yeah, at 18 and you come out with a super classic, not just like a regular classic, like yeah, no, like wow.
Yeah, that's a different type of like a different type of mind and a different type of like piece of work where it's like this is just undeniable, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, when people say it's like one of the best hip hop albums of all time, I don't argue with them because I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like you said, if it's only 9 or 10 songs and you hit 9 of the 9 or 10 of the 10, why are we even arguing? You know what I'm saying? It's like that's just one of those things. Now you can have a different favorite, or if you don't have to agree, but as long as somebody puts one of the greatest, then you can't really argue with it. I don't think.
I agree. Totally agree. It embodies New York, the 90s, that grimy, gritty feel that like so many other people from other states and other places try to
Mm,
imitate sometimes. It's like that's not like everyone says we're not from New York, whatever, but like there's something that's just New York about certain things and you can't
mhm.
explain it. It's like a feeling, it's a thing. You just got to be there to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go, but facts. Um, Flice for Vice, I think is how this is called. Now I'm asking you to confirm.
All right, so I did my research on this because this is the one I was going to bring up that little thing earlier, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait for this song to come up, and then it finally did. So it's Flace.
Flice. Do you know what it is
No, no,
though?
no, not Flake, not Flace, Flace,
Flice.
Flace.
I'm not doing this anymore. Anyway, what? I'm not doing this anymore. What is that?
You've never had some fleas before, you know what I mean? Like you put on your nice little fleas, when it gets cold outside.
That sounds like something the woman would wear, but I don't.
Wow, wow.
It
Oh, so
does.
so
I
you're,
don't know what it is.
so you're misogynistic. You're just like those
No,
people that said that pink is for girls. Pink ain't just for girls, y'all. Charles
no.
said that.
I I
Charles did that. So
I wear
hopefully y'all wouldn't have to do that.
I wear too much paint to even think that I believe that. But it does sound like when you said like to like cover your shoulder. That's what I think of. You know those things like those thin little fabrics that girls wear on the shoulder sometimes when they have like the low jumps. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I'm bullshitting with you, obviously. If you haven't noticed yet, I had this whole setup. I was going to go into like a 4 minute thing just to be like, I'm bullshitting.
We're bored today.
Nah, man, you can never be bored reviewing Charles Hamilton music and listening to it.
Actually, I know what
There
it is.
you
You're right. You're riding out the high of getting some sex.
are. Maybe, man. That might be what it is. Nah, but when I read this, I'm like, I just seen it as fleece for vice. So that's what I looked at it as. So
Got it. I like this record. This might be my favorite, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. As much as I do,
wow,
as much as
okay.
I like the rapping on the last one, I just like this one. The vibes just feel great for me. And he's still rapping, really well on here. Um, yeah. What do we know what beat this one is? I don't know titles.
Of course. So this is One Love by Nas. I remember this is like so when I was younger, I remember BT had this thing on like Saturdays of the BT countdown where they have like a random rapper and then they pick their favorite 25 songs. And sometimes they have like an extra bonus song on there or whatever, but they pick whatever. And I think that's one of the few times I saw like the video for Nas One Love. And
Mhm.
the story of that original song was just not basically talking about like one of the people getting locked up or whatever. And then, whatever they did, it's just like, hey, I'm on the outside and I'm letting you know what you've been missing, how the family's been holding it down, how we've been holding down and everything like that. And also there's younger kids that are watching me and watching maybe what you've done, and they're getting influenced by us heavily, saying, "Yo, I want to be just like you." And it's like, like how Nas is, like, "Yo, like you need to be better than me. You don't want to be in the streets." Younger people's fuck that. I want to be a gangster till I die. And Nas is basically like, nah, like that's not the life you want to live. You know what I mean? So, but honestly, telling this boy like, "Yo, one love, like stay up." So, and it's crazy because I'm thinking about it now. there's a generation of kids that don't understand what that means. It's like if you were to say that to them, like one love, they probably were like, "Hey, yo, like whoa, whoa." It's like nah,
Yeah,
like that means like one, like or that say one. I remember
yeah.
people just say that all the time. One, all right, one. Get off the phone. One, yeah, like one. Short for one love. Like yo, like pause. But because no one wants to say yo, hey, I love you. Bye. Like they're gonna say
They
one love.
don't get it, bro. That was an error.
Yeah, but go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt your
Yeah,
thought.
like I said, the that beat is I like that subdued beat, and I just like the way the little I guess those are bells kind of that are playing in the background. I love that. I like what he's rapping. Um, there's a different one that I'll address, but the singing isn't really that crazy here. Like I would have preferred someone else to do it. I think we've talked about that off record before, and I'll just bring it up here. Singing is always a contention when it comes to Charles because he tries to overdo things sometimes, and I think we've said that either subdue it, bring it back down to your level, or just get somebody else to do the singing. Here it's not that much of a distraction. And it's short. It's not like a long period of singing, so it's okay. Um, but again, the verses really do it for me, man. They really outshine that where the hook kind of lacks. And yeah, I really like this record. My favorite of the tape for sure.
Understand. For me, just the beat itself, One Love. Like I remember when I first heard it, like it was definitely that was probably my favorite Nas song, like back in the day. You know what I mean? Especially like just beat alone. I just always liked the story that he told. But with Charles, he's spitting about some important topics on here. Kind of mentions kind of like the music business and how others can perceive from all sides. Because, for example, like Charles talked about at one point, like, oh, y'all said that I suck, blow, and all that. And the criticism that he's always gotten about, oh, you're rapping like this or rapping like that, go back to your old style. And Charles, kind of reminded people, hey, I'm the one that's had two record deals. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
not sure if y'all have the credibility or the actual like real logistics to be able to say that I suck. Like, and I'm the one that's had record deals, and I've been in these business meetings and everything like that, or
Hmm.
just how maybe like even the record executives could maybe not understand how the music business goes, or even the fans just hopping from one trend to another. So Charles talks about a couple of different things, whatever, from his own standpoint, and he does it the Charles way. um I like the bars on here, kind of like what you said. I'm not the biggest fan of the singing on here, but it is important. As he says, if you don't ask, there is no answer, but if
Hmm.
you ask, there is an answer. And then he kind of says, I hope there's love for me. And it's one of those things where, especially at this time, Charles could have felt like, I've been doing music for such a long time. By this point, it was like 14, 15 years. And it's like, well, I hope that people still love me and have love for me, because he's seen a lot of it in the beginning. But by this point, 2019, he's pretty much under the radar again.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I hope the people that are listening, they actually have love for me and they understand what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. He did mention, I think, near the third verse, because like how he was singing, right? When he first was singing, like the if you don't ask, there is no answer. It's not really like him singing. It's like I hope there's love, and like that's when he started singing more, and it's like a jazz style. And he said, y'all don't understand jazz. And that's one of the things where I guess you can see the critique and maybe the misunderstanding, because if you just hear the beat and then you hear what Charles is trying to do, I'm like, okay, I can see like it is kind of jazz influence how he was singing on that song.
Hmm.
Same time, I'm like, I don't know if that was the right call for it, but it's like you said, it's not the worst thing. We definitely heard worse with singing, so it's decent. I can deal with it overall. It's a good song. I like it.
Yeah. Um, Follow that up with handcrafted cran apple.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
So you know how there's cran apple flavor, there's
Hmm.
cranberry banana flavor, there's cranberry, like there's a million cranberry flavors with
Yep.
with kiwi and all that. Do you actually
Mhm.
have like one of those favorite flavors?
Um, so here's the thing, right? The crayon part, like when they be like cran apple or cranberry, or they be getting real uh clever with these mixes because then they're like cranberry banana peach. I'm like, bro, like that's a lot. Just say it's a medley. It's a berry medley, and it's crazy because they have a flavor just called berry medley. Just drink that. You know what I'm saying? But not in the cran situation. You know, no, I'm sorry. That's cran grape.
Okay,
The
I've seen that one in the store before. I'm like, cran grape. Okay,
the cran grape can get it done. That's a fact. But if it's just talking about juices, I'm a like peach mango, a great combination of drinks.
gotcha, gotcha. It just made me think because when I seen the name of the song, I was just like, all right, handcraft, and it was handcrafted. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
not store bought. Handcraft. Charles made this himself. You know, so personally for me, I'm not really I don't drink any of the cran whatever. I don't.
Hmm.
I've had I've had cranberry vodka before. I've had that
Classic.
before. It's a classic. So you can't go wrong with it, whatever. I have no problem with that. Like if I was at a bar and I had no idea what to drink, I'd be like, yeah, I got cranberry vodka. All right, cool.
Mhm.
I'll settle with that. That's cool. So anyway, um, with this song, this is the song that I didn't know at first, and I want to give a little heads up for you guys in case you don't know this. So the beat for this is Memory Lane by Nas. I think I heard Big Noise in the beginning. Um, Anytime if you guys don't know when you go on YouTube and you're looking up a song that Charles has, if he's rapping on someone else's beat, let me make sure I go to it. Like when you go to like the more section, like the actually see the comments in there. Well,
Hmm.
not the comments, but the description.
Yeah.
If the song has been YouTube ID'd, which all of these have been, so just let you know, um,
Mhm.
it'll pop up. It'll show one song, blah blah blah, whatever the song is, the title is, and if there's any featured artists. So that's a good way of that you can look that type of stuff up if you didn't know that. So anyway, back to the song, Handcrafted Cran Apple. Um, this song just embodies 90s feel just by the instrumental. Like it just sounds like the 90s and it sounds like people reminiscing on the good old days. You know what I mean? Charles follows that direction, with his bars and his flow, and it's kind of just reminds me of those songs that people say, hey, let me take you back in my day. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Back when I was a kid, we used to have, we used to be out in the park summertime, whatever. We used to chase the ice cream man down, and we used to like ride our bikes till the street lights came on. Like it had that type of feel to it for me. Even what Charles was talking about. I'm gonna take you over to this street, and I'm gonna take you to that street. I'm gonna take you over here, then we're gonna circle around. There's that type of deal, whatever. And another relaxing type beat, chill vibe with it. Um, Good song. This might be I'll probably say maybe my underrated song from this project.
Okay.
Not that I would say like with me, like this is the one that I was like, you know what, I need to listen to this one a little bit more because
Hmm.
I don't know why, but it reached me. So I'm like, you know what, I like that, And I guess maybe because we're getting older, so sometimes I'm like, I like to reflect on the good old days back then, before it got all crazy and bills happened. So, it's a good song. I like it.
Yeah, a simpler time. This definitely gives that vibe of just like on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like summertime, after school, not even summertime, just like after school, we got 2 hours, we gonna be outside, we just hanging out. When you said chase the ice cream truck, the only thing I don't know why this every time I think of an ice cream truck, I can only think about one thing. And it's that Hang On episode when it's like really hot and they catch the ice cream man lacking and they say, yo, flip the truck. And I just lose it every time. Um,
Well, first of all, real quick about that, because wasn't they outside like during a heat wave, like the hottest summer that they had or
yes.
whatever?
But
And then
their
like
air
no one
conditioner, I mean, the air conditioner's broke though.
no AC, no one had ice. They made Arnold go to the store, not for no cheesecake. They said, "Yo, get a bag of ice," and then he finally got home, and then one ice cube turned the water.
Yo, granddad being Diddy early is crazy.
Hey, that's wild, man. That was I've dealt with some hot summers, but yeah, like you said, for some kids, multiple kids to flip an ice cream truck, yeah, that summer was no joke for them. Whatever, yeah, that was I felt for them. I was like, damn.
Them kids were delirious. You know what the crazy thing about that episode is? Did it end up raining or was it snowing after that?
It
What happened?
snowed. It
What?
snowed.
What is up with that episode, by the way? It's nuts.
Nah, they're trying to warn us, and
Of global
we
warming.
you global warming. There it is, global warming. As kids, we don't what the fuck is that global? Oh, we're like, oh, it's snowing. That's all we care about. But as adults, it's like, yo, global warming is real. No, it's not. It's like, bro, it was literally like, I don't know what state they're in, but it was
New
hot as
York.
hell. New York, hot as hell. So how did it go from super hot to, oh, it's snowing now? Yeah, it's just yeah, it's just snowing. Like that's not even where that happens. In New York, that doesn't happen. Either it's going to be really hot or it's going to be really cold. Like that would make more sense even here in Delaware. Like
Yeah.
because some days we have some days where it's hot and then it's like kind of cold, but like not in the same fucking day. But it would make more sense here, not New York. But I don't know. I digress.
That was a wild episode. Anywho, yeah, this definitely has that block feel, and just like you said, reminiscing on like simpler times, and it's a good vibe. Like I love this 3 song stretch that we got with this, Airball, Fleece of Ice, and Handcrafted Crayon Apple. Great little stretch there. Um, yeah, at this point, I'm just like, this is the best version of him rapping over other people's beats so far, because I think having the same I guess producer or the same style really has helped with the listening experience, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I could agree with that just because we've heard Charles rap on obviously other people's beats before in the past. And like Charles is just making sure that it's very focused on the bars and he has some hooks on some of these songs. So he's just
Hmm.
making sure that it just comes off well. And I think
Hmm.
he understood the assignment and he for me, I think at this point with the project when I was listening to it, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, man, look, it's unfortunate because Charles has so much music, and I'm like, man, this is something that I feel like people just don't know about at
Yeah.
all. So it's just like, man, like that's why I was like, man, like I can't wait for the other 2 songs. I'm like, I can't wait to at least tell people about these songs I've heard so far. So
Hmm. He does follow that up with something indeed, and that is exactly the phrase I used when I heard the song.
I'll let you finish because oh man, that the way that you're saying that we might have different opinions on this. So let me
Um,
hear it.
it's one of those things where like the verses I think are good. I think the verses are good, and I feel like he's again still with that controlled flow, controlled cadence. But this is where the singing part kind of takes a detour, and I think that's what really distracts me from this. This is one of those songs where it's really gonna depend on the day if I listen to it. I think if I would listen to the tape fully, I wouldn't skip it because I think it follows through with the entire project. But I'm not gonna take this song and like playlist it because I'm just not a fan of the singing on this hook. I think it's a little bit distracting, more distracting than our previous entry, like we were talking about, and yeah, it just kind of takes me out. Like I'm enjoying the verse, and then the hook comes in. I'm like, but then another verse comes in. I'm like, okay, cool, we're back, we're back. But again, I know that hook is coming, so it's that really up and down situation where it's like full listen, fine, individual listen, not for me.
All right, understand. That's kind of like I said when we got to Fleece and also this song right here. I
Hmm.
kind of was interested in seeing like how you felt. I figured you would have felt the way you're feeling about this song. I felt you would have kind of felt the same about Fleece as
Hmm.
well. The fact where you're like, nah, this is you really rock with it, whatever. So this is my song that's like that. This would be like my favorite song from this project.
Hmm.
By the way, this the instrumental is "Life's a Bitch." That this is definitely like one of Charles is not Charles, but Nas is big song, especially from that illmatic project,
Hmm.
because it's not only is it him, it's AZ. And especially at that point, people would be like, oh, who's a better rapper, Nas or AZ? Because it was kind of like one of those like 1A, 1B type of conversations, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But anyway, um classic beat by Nas. So we kind of heard Charles rap on this kind of similarly before with on STH2 on
Hmm.
Sonic the Hamilton 2, Sonic versus Death Egg, but it was more of Charles rapping on the what is it? It's a Gap Band. It's Gap Band who originally had the song, whatever. Then this song is, whoever flipped the beat, they flipped that song, but it's Charles just rapping on the Nas beat, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so this is a slower version with a theme though, because at least with Sonic versus Death Egg, Charles is he's just freestyling it. He's just talking about whatever comes to his mind. There's a slower beat, and then he has a theme to it where he's talking about love, finding the right woman and all that. Because he starts the song off talking about sick of love and sick of the wrong women and the wrong time, the wrong place, that whole deal. Um, my thing is this: I love the verses. I actually love the verses and how he comes
Hmm.
off on it. He seems very passionate about it. We always hear him talking about love, and it's literally a love hate thing. It's hard sometimes because um of the baggage you might have to deal with, the drama. But when love's good, it's great. The hook singing is okay. I'm not the greatest fan of this either, but I think with this one it was easier. I looked at it like this. It was easier to fix because the way he's singing the hook is literally the same way Charlie Wilson was singing on, the
Right.
Gap Band's version.
Hmm.
Which if y'all don't know that, that's Yearning for Your Love. That's Gap Band's actual original John for it. Do your research. So it's he's basically singing the way that Charlie was singing on that song. But the thing is, Charles is not Charlie. You know what I mean? Charles is Charlie, but Charles is also Chuck, which also means is never mind. I could have went there, but no, but seriously, like obviously Charles Hamilton is not Charlie Wilson when it comes to
Right.
singing. Um, it's one of those things though where like you could definitely tell, or I'll say this, I could be wrong, but I feel like Charles just did a one take for the singing part for the chorus or the hook.
Hmm.
This could have easily been quote unquote fixed if he did like another take, because that sounded like a rough draft type of take he did. And
Hmm.
it's like, hey, let me get two takes out the way, get my vocals ready, drink some water, and then okay, now I'm ready. Let me try to actually sing this a little better. Like I'm so because in my head I'm like that's where I have the issue with. I'm like Charles could have did a better job singing that because he's not even going like that far, like with the singing range, like with the other song or other songs he's done. I'm
Hmm.
like, he could have did a better job with trying to sing that, but we know how he is, where he likes to one take stuff. Um, and I would say this: if y'all have never heard Gap Band's "Yearning," go listen to that, then listen to Charles sing, whatever, and think about all the times you've heard Charles sing on songs. And I guarantee you could be like, we're not saying he needs to be like Charlie Wilson, but it's like he could have did a better job with that. So, um, I'm still okay with the song. I still like it. Like I said, it's my favorite from this tape. Um, Surprisingly, I think this only had two verses. I think this is like only two verses. I'm like, that's kind of different because Charles, he always three verse king.
Hmm.
But I know he did some talking at the end, so I think this just fit the song better, which is doing two verses, and then he did his talking near the end, and it would be nice to see him do that a little bit more on certain songs, like just do two verses and get your bottom line across either smoother or faster. You know what I mean? Some songs, yeah, go ahead, do the three, knock out three verses. But I'm like, hey, song like this, just two verses. You don't need to muddy it up by, oh, I gotta do a third verse. I gotta,
Hmm.
because sometimes, hey, if you're not gonna do a third verse, just leave it like that, or do like an extra chorus. But that's it. You don't have to do the extra stuff. But yeah, this is still my favorite song. But I know I feel like a teacher. When student comes in and gets a C and like that, they're like that A+ student. It's like, come on now. You you
Yeah.
you you could even if you didn't study, like you should have got like a B on
Yeah.
this. You know the material. That's how I look at it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I understand. Like, the one take thing is usually kind of a detriment that he has, where it's like the issues that we might find in a song, where like, yeah, this is just go back and fix that. It's not it's no one no one's stopping you. You're controlling the recordings and how it is. So like you can just go back and fix it at any time. And I'm sure he hears the things that we hear, but I just think he either prefers to let it live or he just feels like it matches what he's going for. But I'm like you, go back to the two verses and maybe letting the beat ride, or like you said, going back to kind of have like a bridge as the quote unquote third verse. I think that was he has very good a good track record when it comes to that. Um He ends with, I believe that's Kerrigan's Dance. Now, I thought Kerrigan for 1 second. I thought we were talking about the oddities, man. Shout out to the old WWF fans.
Um, we're talking about the same person. 'Cause I thought it was Kurgan or something like that.
That's why I read it. I was like, I think it's Kurgan, but I don't know if that's what he meant. But I don't know. You know how we already spelled one thing different, so I was like, maybe this is a similar situation.
I figured it was like Nancy Kerrigan. I thought
Oh, maybe
that's what
yeah.
we were talking about. Yeah. So at the same time, who was it? It was because it was like Tanya Harding. She was the one that had like was it like a pipe or something like that, and then like bashed homegirls like legs, and she couldn't
Yeah.
skate or whatever it was.
Yeah, smashed her whole shin in.
Yeah, like
That was that. Hey,
geez.
hey, damn, that was sweet shin music.
Oh wow, that's too soon. Too soon. I mean, I know
Was it too
it's a long way.
soon?
It's too soon, man.
They
Too
done done a
soon.
whole documentary on her. It's over.
It was over after Tanya Harding got to her. Listen, listen, listen. Don't act like you weren't referencing that. Don't act like that. Why do you do me that way? Oh, see, also I'm not trying to be funny either, but he does that in the song. Why does she do me that way? I'm like, is he referencing that with the dance or whatever? But also,
Might be.
I know that's reference to like, Michael because let me get to my quick review. I didn't have too many notes on this, but if y'all don't know, this is Nas on It Ain't Hard to Tell. And Nas sampled Michael Jackson. And one of the rules, I guess, that they said, I don't know if you guys seen this before or Stick, if you've seen it before.
Mhm.
Basically, when they sampled this and they had to talk to Michael and be like, hey, we want to sample your song, Human Nature. And then I guess Michael was like, you can do this, but on one rule, you can't curse in the song at all. And Nas was like, all right, bet, and then delivers like the one of the greatest raps of all time. Not cursing in the song at all. Not even, oh, you can curse, but just bleep it out. No, they're like, he's like, I'm not even going to curse. I'm not even going. I'm a Will Smith it before Will Smith. Well, technically, not. Will Smith was out before, but he was the Fresh Prince at the time. I think he's still Fresh Prince.
Also Will Smith was inspired by Nas when he wrote the what you call it. So it all it's like the second the big circle. It's fine.
Yeah, 6 degrees of separation, and it just
Yeah.
it still goes. But now, it's one of those things where it's a good song. Charles has some potent bars, and his hook, like I said, it's him, it's similar to him doing like what Michael did, whatever, especially with what he's singing. And then in my head, I'm like, if he is talking about Nancy Kerrigan, it's kind of like her being such a great skater or dancer on the ice, and then you have someone that's a hater like Tanya Harding deciding like, nah, I'm gonna do this or whatever. And if he was referencing that, it's like, yeah, why would you do that? Whatever. Like, I wasn't over here hurting nobody. I was just, trying to be the greatest of all time. And then you try to clip my wings, basically. So um overall, it's a good song, and then this is how it ends the tape. I'm like, hey, it was a pleasant end. I was cool with it. So I was like, oh, this is nice. But feel free to let me know how you feel about it, and or Nancy Kerrigan, and or Tanya Harding. 'Cause I think there was like a dude involved too. You know what I mean? So I don't know, like if homegirl was like, "Yo, you're sleeping with my man," and this and that, and you know how bitches be doing the as a woman. I gotta come to you as a woman. It's like, all right, here we go.
It's this the name of this song is so much easier than all of this. I forgot as soon as we started talking and you started bringing up Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya, I was like, that's right. Nancy Kerrigan was on Dance with the Stars.
There you go.
And there it is. Yeah, she was on there in 2017. Um, Made it all the way to the seventh week before getting eliminated. Um, the song's cool. I think it's a nice way to end the tape. Not in my higher tier, so like if it's not in my top three, but it's probably right below that. Um, Good record. Like I said, he's rapping pretty well. I like the hook. I like that beat kind of does well with what Charles is doing. Yeah, I think it's a great way to ride off into the sunset after this very short tape. It's doesn't overstay its welcome, and yeah, it completes a very surprisingly enjoyable listening experience, especially you know, if you're somebody who values illmatic and the beats and things, and you're afraid of other people touching that beat or these beats, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you got here once you complete this song.
Nice. I agree with that. Real quick, because we were talking about Nancy Kerrigan. So I read about it. So it was in 94, January 6th. Oh, always something happened in January 6th, man.
What is
Crazy.
up with January 6th?
So, but yeah, she got attacked with a police baton. Um, by they said it was Tanya Harding's ex-husband and
Hmm.
another person. And basically the whole thing was I guess between those two, like they're deciding, who should actually, go to the Olympics or who should, be representing us. They chose Nancy and Tanya's like, I don't like that shit. And then I guess she sent the head out. So yeah. So
You know,
crazy.
did they ever like settle this? Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, she's a criminal, but like, did they ever like, come together and be like Kobe and Shaq did, or Magic and Isaiah, Sean and Brett? Did they ever do that? Like, have a sit down, like, hey, yo, man, I'm sorry
I
for what I
hope not.
did.
I hope not. Like personally, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I'm trying to dwell on the past or man, you should just let that go. You literally tried to end my career because it's not like she made the decision. The people spoke. Why didn't you hit them? That's crazy. Like I don't think I could ever like be like, yeah, we could be cool again. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's all good. Hey, you know I had to get you right. No, fuck no. Fuck no. I mean, I don't know if they ever did or not, but I hope not. I hope not, because yeah, I wouldn't let that slide ever on any circumstance.
Yeah,
No.
it probably be up for the rest of my life. I ain't gonna hold you. That's crazy.
I'll say it like this. It'll be up forever, but it won't be up forever as like 50 and like Murder Inc. Like, for example, Irv, I mean, by the time y'all see this Irv guy, his past and all that, I'm not gonna be on Instagram talking about smoking on that pack. You know what I mean? I'm not doing all that. I'm just not gonna say rest in peace when you pass or whatever. But yeah, when there's no reckless there's there's none of that. There's none of that. No, I'm good.
All right, before this episode's over, I would like you to come up with your best Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding bar. You just think of it while we talk. Um, I, Listen, I know how your mind works. You're gonna find one up in a minute. It's fine. Do we have anything else before we review the state?
Like I said, we didn't really touch too much on the cover. You want to talk about the cover a little bit? Like I said, we said, it's Charles. Like, it looks like he's in a store, like either like a Walmart or something like that, with like the Pac-Man. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like a board game or like one of those like plug and play games.
yeah.
It look it looks like to me because the thing is, number one, it's Charles in a store, and then he has his hat on, and then he like kind of covering his face, and it looks like he has like a Turtle Beach headset on or something like that. And then like you
yeah.
see like it looks like from that box, it looks like one of those plug and play games that like
Hmm.
they started doing in like the like a couple of years ago, like within the last 10 years, where it's like, hey, you remember Pac-Man? Hey, we have a plug and play where you just plug it into your TV and you can just play it. They started doing that with like a bunch of games, you know what I mean? So that's what it looks like. But
And it's just like, why though? Like, I get it for people who don't want to get like a huge console and then the hassle that comes with that. But like one game at a time, bro.
yeah, I mean, I know like they would usually do like three or four, but at the same time with Pac-Man, it's like, don't tell me you're going to tell me, oh, this is like a super Pac-Man pack, where it's you get Pac-Man, you get Mrs. Pac-Man, which is, I mean, number one, Mrs. Pac-Man kind of defeats the purpose of just regular Pac-Man because regular Pac-Man is just one player. Mrs. Pac-Man, you can do one and two player. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Oh, we're also doing like the Super Mega Pac-Man edition where it's still Pac-Man, but oh, we we changed the color of the ghost or something like that. It's like, really? You know what I mean? So
No.
I'd have to look that up to be like, what was that plug and play? If it was just one game or multiple, so I'm not sure. Even if it is a plug and play, I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah, and when it comes to this cover, I don't understand why that was chosen. I don't know if it's an official cover. I don't know, I don't know how Pac-Man is involved or equates to, climatic and or illmatic or any of these things.
All right, I figured out the bar. I'm gonna say real quick, two bars. I treat these bitches like Nancy Kerrigan. I make sure that you'll be never there again. There you go.
There it is.
There you
See?
go.
Um,
I'm sorry, Nancy. Stick made me do it. Stick made me
I'm
do it.
sorry,
Hashtag stick
Nancy.
made me do it.
Imagine if we
I'm
get a
sorry,
comment from Nancy.
Nancy. I never meant to hurt you. That's what Tanya said. That's what Tanya said.
No, Tanya meant to hurt her. She
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 did.
she meant to hurt her, maim her, destroy her career, everything.
And she still ended up on Dancing with the Stars. So how about that?
Crazy work. Um, but yeah, man. We just listened to Climatic, the illmatic, I guess, homage from Charles Hamilton in 2025. Let us know what your review is, any pros and cons, and the character rating you are giving it today, man.
All right. So as we alluded, it's one of these tapes that, I'm not sure how many people have heard it. Especially with the Discord that we have now and like a lot of the fans that have came together to talk about certain Charles projects. I haven't heard any of them talk about it. I think around this point in time, let's say 2018 to 2020, there are a handful of projects I've seen Star Chasers talk about, but I haven't
Mhm.
seen anyone talk about this one at all. So I might, maybe I just been out of the loop, and especially I can say for myself, around this time, definitely 2019, 2020, I don't think I was listening to any Charles Hamilton music at all. Um, I still kept up with them, like, on social media and whatnot. I'd say what's up. I join the lives every now and again, but like,
Mhm.
now, years removed or coming back and then listening to this now, um, pleasant surprise. It's one of those things where I was really happy and excited where I'm like, man, I picked a random tape. Um, we basically did Russian roulette, played it, and I'm like, hey man, this is really good.
Mhm.
Um, Especially from what we are used to hearing when Charles raps on other people's productions. Um, I just wish this had more of a spotlight, and this is what we're here to give it
Yeah.
and do for it. So I hope that more Star Chasers listen to it and they find this maybe higher in their catalog of Charles Hamilton favorites. Um, Definitely underrated. I have to say it's underrated. The bars are great on here, even if there is some singing on here, it's not as bad as we've heard as before. So I'm giving it a tails. It's giving
Mhm.
it tails. It's underrated. Good 6 song project needs some more love. Like I said, we need more people to check it out and let us know what they think of it. But yeah, tails rating for me.
That's good. Yeah, this was an interesting one to kind of rate because I think just to come out and say I'm also going tails. But I think for me, I don't know if it's underrated per se. I think it's more the other definition we do, and it's just that people need to hear this more. People need to know about this more. Um, because it's one of those things where like I don't know how often I would revisit this tape, but if it gets brought up, I could see myself being like, "Oh, damn, that did come out. Let me go back and listen to that." It's one of those. So it's not where I'm not going to revisit at all, and it's not inconsistent because I think that's very consistent in the tape. I think that you know. I think this, like I said, this is one of the best tapes we've had where he's rapping over someone else's beat, where it's not a Charles Hamilton production and the music is still pretty good overall. Um, so that's why I thought about giving it a knuckles, but I was like, it's like this. It's not a bumpy ride. It's not inconsistent. Like it was very consistent throughout the entire thing. Besides, something indeed, and even that had good verses on there. So yeah, I landed on tails because I think pause. I think that was just the perfect choice in this situation because yeah, like you said, just not a lot of people know about this, and I want that to change
Definitely. Also, we didn't really talk about it too much. The quality sound wise, audio wise, whatever, is pretty good as well. I didn't really get to say anything about that, but just want to make sure that's known too, because we know how that can dampen a listen or a quality of a project. So the sound quality is pretty good too on this as well. So just want to put that out there.
for sure. Uh, but now we need you guys. We need you guys to go out there, listen to Climatic, come back and tell us how you feel about Climatic. How do you feel about Illmatic? Where do you rank it amongst the best albums of all time? And do you think Charles did this justice? Be sure to let us know over on YouTube, Star Chaser Central. You can also follow us on Twitter, Star CH Central. You can also follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54, STIK around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson on Twitter, because I definitely don't call it X. Um, Mike D Jackson, Mike D E Wait, let me hit the backspace a couple times.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right, Mike D Jackson, Mike D Jackson, one D, two E's, holla at me. Hey, sometimes it happens. I think that my E button might be messed up over there, so we'll fix that next episode. Make sure you guys are following Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Make sure you are also following him on YouTube at the talented Mr. Hamilton. Um, you already know, sometimes he does it live, sometimes you'll hear some new music, you never know. So make sure you're subscribed to him on there. Um, Also, last but not least, if you want the most important updates, make sure you are checking out the blog, enterthehamilton.blogspot.com. There it is.
Yeah, as of when we did this recording, Charles had put himself on a little hiatus, according to the blog or whatever. He's taking some time off the grid is how he described it. Um, we'll see how long that lasts. Charles's hiatuses don't always last long, especially if he announces them. If he just happens to go off the grid, then that's when they tend to happen longer. But we'll see. In the meantime, go check out some of the music he dropped over the past couple of years, man. Like I said, we found this from 2019. Good stuff. The stuff there, man. You just gotta search and look for it, man. Be sure to let us know what you want us to listen to. For sure, by the time this comes out, we've had our first episode with a guest. Shout out to Les. So if you want to be on StarCHaser Central Podcast, man, one, have a great attitude because we don't deal with bullshit. And two, just let us know, man. Let us know what you want us to review. Uh, you know, serious inquiries only, and we'll see if we can make that happen.
Definitely. Only thing I also gotta say about that, like if you guys are wanting us to review something and you want to come on the show, just let us know if you would like to, actually show your face or not, because you don't have to. If you just want to do audio only, we can do that. That works. Also, please make sure that it's something that is accessible. Like we can easily access that project. Um, don't tell us it's something that Charles put out and it's not on YouTube or it's not anywhere else. Like it's a extra special edition that one person has a CD to it and then no one else has heard it, or it's like some type of crazy like video or something like that on Reddit where you can barely hear the audio. Like, make
Hmm.
sure it's something that we can find on YouTube. So when we actually put the project out or the episode out, people can easily go like, "Hey, I can go to the archives, or I can go on YouTube and find this project, so I can listen to it while you guys talk about this episode." So please, please, please don't. We know Charles is cryptic and Charles does these things like that, but that doesn't mean you need to be that way. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, other than that, Mike, do you have anything for the people before we head out?
Um, wrap up. Wrap it up, B. Wrap it up.
Spoken like a true streak ender. Uh, we're heading out of the Star Trek Central podcast, man, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams.
And reach for the stars.
Don't be a Tanya Harding, man.